Hey folks, it's time to catch up with a thread. So I'm going to answer Conrad's musical cherries thread. Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's almost like being back at work. This week, every day has just been full. So today, one of my rehearsals was postponed, so I get to relax today. Actually, I'm not complaining though. I'm not. Just sleep, getting a good. It's weird when I'm on the road, I sleep better in hotels. Why is that? I probably need a new bed. That's probably what it is. Anyway, um, before I answer the thread, catching up a little bit on people, not so much that I'll watch all the videos, but just getting around to all the different people that I consider friends here. Good to see Penix. Good to see a new video from you. Watching the latest one from Eric. Before the day is over, I want to see Mr. Fartboy's latest video. He brought my attention to it that he's got some new krautrock stuff. I bet you do, Tony, and other folks. But I wanted to answer this thread before too much time goes on. I don't get to all the threads, and I just do what I can. So here we go. Conrad, you would like to know what is the first song or album that I memorized, and I don't remember. I don't, because we're going back to music is the main thing going on with me since 2 and 3 years old. So the little golden records and the little red records we got as children, I memorized those babies. I mean, I did. I can remember now vaguely how intensely my, absorption of those records were, every word, every groove, you know, every little scratch, every little thing about it I memorized, and I used to be crazy about records to the point that I would get to the point that I knew it so well that I would break it. How weird is that? That's a childlike thing. Or you would get new records and they'd be new, and then you'd say it's been new for too long, so I got to scratch it up. So probably of the first actual songs that I memorized, probably "Wake Up Little Susie" by the Everly Brothers would probably be one. "Crying" by Roy Orbison would be one. "Timing" by Jim Jones. I'm trying to be as accurate as I can because this is all before the Beatles. I mean, I was remembering music, in the 50s as a child. I can still basically remember it. That's the most accurate answer I can give. Number two, what's the first record you wanted everyone you know to hear? Well, that goes all the way back to childhood because, of course, when I got turned on to good songs on the radio, I wanted everyone to hear. 1966 was a particularly hot year for radio, and "Psychotic Reaction" by the Count Five, "Hey Little Girl" by Syndicate of Sound, "Summer in the City" by Lovin' Spoonful. Those are some songs that immediately come back to mind that I was just nuts about. And I wanted everyone to hear, but I was made fun of in my neighborhood for listening to white music. So consequently, I had to kind of hide. I can remember specifically a couple days where I would be sitting next to the record player by the window in the summertime, as a kid. And the kids outside would be playing, or they'd come by, or they'd notice me, or they'd hear the music, and then they'd stop and they'd tease me right there. They just stop, just blatantly look in the window. I'm in my house, not minding my own business, and they just yell at me and tease me because I'm listening to white music. So I have to tell that story in answering question number two, that it and it does bring up another sore point, which I've tried to speak about many times in my videos, which I don't think many of you people understand. White people have had the luxury of glorifying black music and being thought of as being more authentic or cooler because you're listening to it. I've had the opposite experience where I was listening to the Beatles and all this cool white music, and I was being stoned, literally beaten up, and told I was a turncoat, a traitor. listen back to what I just said. Can any of you understand my attitude as a result of this life experience? Why, why was it okay for you guys to cross over to me, but I can't cross over to you? You know, there's still a residue of that experience to this day. You know, the punks up in Sioux City know who I am, so they accept me, you know, but until I stepped off the stage playing with Rick Agnew, a whole lot of that bar didn't know who I was, and I was just another dude. And when I got off the stage from playing with Rick Agnew, I was a different person. I was treated like a god. I mean, I really was. And I've had this experience over and over again in life where I'm being judged by the skin of the color of my skin, by what people see. They can't see the real person inside. It's always been an issue, and when answering these questions bring these things up, you know. So, you know, it's another reason why maybe I don't answer threads more often, is because I'm always going to tell you honestly. I'm never going to give you a watered down, nice version of these answers. I'm always going to tell you what I'm really thinking. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3. What was the first record or album you remember that shocked you? Well, my dad had records that shocked me as a little boy because of some of the images. I remember this one, it was either a jazz or blues record, and it was a very suggestive, it was a woman, it wasn't a full nude, and it was this lighting, and it was mostly her derriere, it was mostly her butt that you could see, but it was the lighting, and it reminded me, see, here I get to get out more stuff. This is psychology for me. I mean, it's therapy, you know. The cover was black and white with a slight blue tinge. The lighting was such that you mainly could see her butt. She's dancing. She has on clothes, but barely. Like she's got on like stockings that had the line in the back running down the leg. It's very suggestive. It's a very sexual dance, but it's shocking and it's frightening to me as a boy. And the reason why is because it reminds me of something that I saw in real life that I wasn't supposed to see, and frankly did not want to see. And so it was, you know, I saw something I didn't need to see way too soon. And so I don't know who this record is by, but this has a lot to do with, you know, my prevailing attitude, which some of you could say, just let it go, Dereck. I don't have to let it go. You know, I mean, I could, but for what reason? I'm not going to join in the behavior I see most humans do. You know, am I starting to diss people again? Yeah, I am. You know, there's a lot of behavior that's just, you know, I'm not going to do it. So that was the first one that was shocking. To move on to something maybe less negative, or maybe something more pleasant for you to listen to, when I first heard Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, that was shocking. It was so different. Matter of fact, by the time we got to A Day in the Life, I was frightened as a child. It was like, what's going on here? It was a lot to take in, even though I had been introduced to the avant-garde already and was trying to wrap my head around that through records checked out from the library. This was different. This was the Beatles. This was the center of my universe. I had never heard anything like that coming from a record that's meant for me. It scared the shit out of me. Okay. Pardon me. So those are the two that I can use for that answer. Okay, number 4. First album you bought in several different formats. That's a tough one, you know, because again, being poor, I couldn't afford to buy formats, okay? I'll tell you this, the first CDs that I could afford to buy when they came out, one of the first ones I bought was the Cocteau Twins. As a matter of fact, some of the first CDs I bought were 4AD label CDs. And like an idiot, when I first started buying them, I gave the albums away. So, for example, I gave away Dead Can Dance's Spleen and Ideal on vinyl to a very good friend of mine who still has it. I would never deign to ask him for it back, although I've wanted to. But those come to mind, that when CDs came out, the first CDs that I really wanted to have were 4AD artists. I was heavily into 4AD in the 80s. I love that label. Number 5. What is the first album in your collection you would hide if you had VC Company? I'm very proud to say I wouldn't hide any of my records. I don't have records that I think are crap. I don't. I have 45s that are pop hits like Lisa Lisa and Cult Jam. I'm not ashamed of those because I like them. I don't have any music here I'm ashamed of. If anything, I'm always trying to tailor my record collection to really suit my personality. It's also why there are a lot of records that many VC members have said these are essential to collections. I don't have them. You know, I don't agree. Those records aren't essential to me. They don't define me. I want to define myself. Specifically, I want people to know that I, know about good music, and I know about music beyond the typical everyday mundane stuff. Not that that stuff is bad, but just that, I'm proud of my history musically. I was one of the first people in Omaha to know about Joy Division. I was the first person in Omaha to know about the Smiths. This black kid from the ghetto is turning the punks onto their own music. I've been doing this forever. I'm not lying. Come to Omaha and ask, So I don't have nothing to hide. I mean, I love Aha. I mean, that's straight pop. I love it. Aha is fantastic. I'm looking at my records. I love my collection. My record collection kicks ass. Just like some of you others. Some of you other people's, I'd love to absorb your collection into mine. Several people come to mind. I'd love to snarf up some of your records. But I'm not embarrassed by my collection at all. I don't collect junk, and more power to those that do. But that's not what I do. I always feel like I'm forgetting things, and I am. Last thing I'll say is this is the latest. I continue to do the collages because it's so much fun, and they're getting better. Look at this one. Ooh, I like this one. Let me take it out of the Blake sleeve. I finished this one the day before yesterday. Really like this. I like that. Yeah. Is there anything to tell you music-wise? No, yesterday I was hardly here, so I don't have any records to show you. Have a great day, everyone, and evening whenever you see this. Be well.